Good evening. It is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, January 23rd, 2017. And I just want to do a quick little update of the last 24 hours of earthquakes and a forecast for the next 4 or 5, possibly 6 days. So if you've watched any of my videos before, this whole little area probably looks familiar to you. If not, this is the area in the West Pacific right here known as Fiji and Tonga. Down here you have New Zealand, Australia, the Solomon Islands. This is Papua New Guinea. This is the Indonesian islands, the Philippines. Up here you have Taiwan. You have Guam and the Mariana Islands in here. Japan, Kamchatka, Russia, the Aleutian Island chains, and Alaska. This is the Northwest Pacific, and obviously you have the West Coast, California, Central and South America, right in here. So, if you've watched my other videos, you're familiar with this routine. It's probably starting to look familiar. But we had a large, deep earthquake here today, several hours ago. There's a 4.8 magnitude earthquake located just south of Fiji. And that earthquake was at a depth of 581 kilometers, which puts the origination of this underneath the plate. And it is exactly this earthquake, a large, deep earthquake, that causes larger, shallower earthquakes. So, when these large, deep earthquakes occur, that pressure moves up to the surface and then it fans out and spreads that seismic pressure along a fixed trajectory. In this particular region, it moves to the south and to the west. And then later on during the week, that seismic pressure will begin to distribute itself along the plate boundary up into here. It will also distribute itself along this plate boundary up into Myanmar and Burma, up in here, northern India, over into Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. And then it will move all the way over here into Greece, and then it will move into Italy, and then eventually it'll wind its way out here to the mid-Atlantic ridge. So these earthquakes that you see over the last 24 hours, all dotted along here, are all prior to this earthquake. So don't get, with the exception of this one. This one came after. This is at Sinabang, Indonesia, and that came immediately following after this earthquake, which is normal. What happens is it's like if water came and hit a pole standing in the ocean, that water is going to go around the pole, down to the south and to the west. And so this is expected shortly after a large, deep earthquake here. Whoops, what happened? Sorry about that. So a large, deep earthquake here. Shortly thereafter, we see pressure move over here into the west, and just a short time after the Fiji earthquake here, we had this 5.0 in western Indonesia. Let's go over to the European site. This is the EMSC. This is basically the European version of the USGS. Take a look at their latest earthquakes. And so, right here is our large, deep earthquake in Fiji, this guy. Shortly thereafter was our 5.0 in western Indonesia at Sinabang. And then shortly after that, which is not showing on the USGS, is a 4.7 similar size earthquake down in New Zealand about an hour and 45 minutes ago. So about 5 hours ago we had this large, deep earthquake. A few hours after that we had earthquake in Indonesia, and then a few hours later we had a 4.7 in New Zealand. And once again, the USGS isn't even showing it. I don't know why. Excuse me. It's typical. Anyway, so up here in Kamchatka, Russia, you have an earthquake over the last 24 hours. Both of these areas also have volcanic activity going on. In fact, Cinnabon is an active volcano right now, all along the Ring of Fire. In fact, let's go over here to Volcano Discovery, and we'll take a look at all the volcanoes in red are active volcanoes currently erupting. So we'll take a little bit better look at it right here. So here was our earthquake in Fiji earlier today, large deep earthquake. You can see that if you can read it. These videos are best if you view them in full screen so that you can read all the little writing that comes on there. Shortly after that, we had our volcano and earthquake over here in Cinnabon, and then an earthquake down here in New Zealand. But we're going to look for a 5.8 to 6.8 in this region anytime over the next 4 or 5 days. So up here in Kamchatka, you've got a couple of volcanoes going off. The Kuril Islands, and Kamchatka is right up in here. And then you've got some volcanoes going off of a Bogoslav volcano in the Aleutian Islands. Down here you have El Popo going off in Mexico, which erupted earlier today. I made a video. I'll leave a link to that video about this volcano in the description. And several volcanoes going off over here. Reventador volcano in Ecuador and Peru, all down the coast of South America. So this is obviously what we call the Ring of Fire, all up in here. So volcanic activity and earthquake activity is connected for sure. Despite what science says, they're connected. So it's just a pressure release valves is what I call them. These volcanoes act as a pressure relief valve. When the seismic pressure can't come up through the crust along the fracture zones or plate boundaries, it expends itself at the volcanoes. And so that's what's going on over there. So we'll go back to the earthquake map. We'll zoom out just for comparison. This happened right here while we were making this video just now. 4.1 at the Tanga volcano in Alaska. You can zoom in real quick, take a look at it. So this was a 4.1 earthquake that just happened while we were making this video. And if you look at the Aleutian Island chain, what a lot of people don't know is all of these are all volcanoes as well. So you can see the plate boundary right here subducting. And then here's our little 4.1 earthquake. And as we zoom in, you can already start to make these out as volcanoes. But there's your volcano. You got a volcano right there. 2 of them. Bing, bing. So that's pretty interesting. Not used to them happening while I'm making a video, but all these are all volcanoes going off as well. Every one of these little islands are volcanic in nature. Here's your Kamchatka. You got a volcano going off right here. And you also had an earthquake just south of there. This is the Kuril Islands. Also have a volcano as well as this earthquake. You also have a volcano going off right here. If we look on the volcano discovery map, you got a volcano going off right here. That's this guy right here. So there's your earthquake here, and there's your volcano there. Volcano in Kamchatka, and volcano in the Kuril Islands, and there's your earthquake. You got a earthquake over here, volcanoes here. This guy, Bogoslav volcano, has been going off for a few days now. Some of these volcanoes are spewing ash 20, 30,000 feet into the air. That's similar to a Mount St. Helens eruption, just to put that in perspective. So all these areas where you see the circle are earthquakes, and the red triangles are active volcanoes. So you can see that where there are earthquakes, there are volcanoes erupting. And so that helps reduce the seismic pressure by expending it out of the volcanoes. So in a way, it's kind of good when the volcanoes are going off, because it reduces the likelihood of a very large earthquake. So we're still going to look for a large, shallow earthquake over here in the West Pacific over the next 4 or 5 days. Generally speaking, we're looking for that earthquake to happen in the silent areas that haven't seen earthquake activity. So that puts us right here in Japan, Taiwan, Philippines region, possibly Papua New Guinea over the next 4 or 5 days as a result of this earthquake. So I hope you'll share this video. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel over here on YouTube. I've probably got about 20 videos regarding earthquakes. If you'd like to message me, if you have questions, you can find me over here on Facebook at Mark Mucci. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and I'll come back in a couple days and make another video.